Have you ever wished you could rewrite your past, only to feel trapped by the weight of regret? Nietzsche believed those regrets aren't lessons but chains, and the moment you break them, you begin to truly live. Then let me ask you a second question. Have you ever replayed a moment in your head and wished you could rewrite it? A conversation you regret, a choice you didn't take, a mistake you wish you could erase. Most people treat regret like a badge of maturity, as if carrying it proves they have grown. But Nietzsche saw it differently. He believed regret is not a sign of wisdom. It is a quiet way of rejecting your own life. Because every time you whisper, "I wish it hadn't happened," what you are really saying is, "I wish I were someone else." Think about what regret actually does. It traps you in the past. You wake up in the present, but your mind is still negotiating with ghosts. You imagine alternate versions of yourself, alternate timelines, alternate lives, and while you are bargaining with those shadows, your real life slips by. Regret isn't growth. It's paralysis disguised as reflection. Nietzsche wanted us to see this for what it is. To regret is to secretly betray yourself. The competitive style would have us notice how regret wears a mask. It looks like responsibility. It sounds like self-awareness. But if you look closer, it is self-rejection. Why? Because regret pretends the past could have been different. But every event, every word, every failure already happened exactly as it did. The person who regrets is fighting with reality itself, and that is a war no one can win. When you cling to regret, you are chained to versions of yourself that no longer exist. Most people don't realize how much of their identity is built on these chains. Think about the phrases we hear all the time. If only I had spoken up. If only I had left earlier. If only I had tried harder. The words, "if only," are a prison. They keep you locked in a story where you are forever powerless, because the script has already been written and you are always too late. Nietzsche warned against this poison of "if only," because it stops you from ever saying yes. Yes to who you are. Yes to where you stand. Yes to what has already shaped you. Here's the truth, hidden in plain sight. Regret does not keep you honest. It keeps you small. It convinces you that you are defined by mistakes instead of possibilities. Imagine looking back on your life and realizing that the heaviest weight you carried was never your pain, but your refusal to accept it. That is the illusion of regret. Nietzsche's challenge is not to erase the past, but to embrace it. To stop asking, "what if?" and start asking, "what now?" Because regret only makes sense if you still believe you are powerless. The moment you recognize that you can transform what happened into something useful, regret dissolves. What was once a burden becomes raw material. And this is where the practice of loving your fate begins. It starts when you stop wishing to be someone else and finally claim every step of the path that made you who you are. Most people hear the word fate and think of something fixed, something heavy that chains them to a life they never chose. They imagine destiny as a script already written, leaving them powerless to change it. But Nietzsche's practice of Amor Fati reveals the opposite. To love your fate is not to surrender. It is to discover a hidden power that almost no one dares to touch. Because when you embrace everything that has happened, you stop being a victim of your story and start becoming its author. Think about how we usually treat the past. We separate it into good and bad, victories and mistakes, blessings and curses. The good we celebrate, the bad we try to erase. But what happens when you erase? You cut yourself in half. Nietzsche's insight was that the moments you hate most, the nights you wished away, are part of the same thread that created the person standing here now. Tear them out, and you lose yourself. Amor Fati is the courage to say yes, even to the parts you once rejected. At first, this sounds impossible. How can anyone love the betrayals, the failures, the losses? Isn't that just pretending pain does not hurt? But Nietzsche was not asking for denial. He was asking for transformation. Pain is not an enemy. It is raw material. Every setback carries within it the possibility of strength. Every disappointment holds the seed of wisdom. The hidden power of Amor Fati is that it doesn't change what happened, but it changes what it means. Most people never see this because they are busy fighting ghosts. They replay conversations they cannot redo. They try to prove to people who are no longer watching. They carry anger toward events long finished. That fight drains them. But the moment you say yes to what already is, the ghosts disappear. Suddenly, the energy that went into resistance is free for creation. This is why Nietzsche spoke of loving your fate, not just accepting it. Acceptance stops the bleeding. Love gives the wound purpose. Imagine two people with the same wound. One resents it, relives it, wishes it away. The other looks at it and says, "This belongs to me. I will use it." Who becomes stronger? Amor Fati is that second path. It does not ask you to enjoy suffering, but to see in it a strange gift, the power to build. Fate is not what happens to you. It is what you forge from it. Here is the secret. Life is not asking for your approval. It is already happening. The only question is whether you will resist it or embrace it. And the moment you choose embrace, the world changes. Every memory, every scar, every loss becomes proof that nothing can undo you. You are not broken by your story. You are strengthened by it. That is the hidden power Nietzsche wanted you to see. When you stop fighting the life you already have, you discover the freedom to shape the one you still can. Everyone carries wounds. Some are visible, most are hidden. A betrayal that cut too deep. A failure that still whispers in the back of your mind. A loss that left you searching for pieces of yourself you never found again. Most people treat these wounds as curses. They either hide them away, hoping no one sees, or they live inside them, repeating the pain until it becomes their whole identity. But Nietzsche saw something different. He believed wounds are not obstacles to overcome. They are the very material you are meant to build from. This is where Amor Fati becomes more than an idea. It becomes practice. To love your fate means to look at your scars and claim them as your own. Not just to say, "It happened," but to say, "I will use this." What doesn't kill you can make you stronger, but only if you choose to let it. Otherwise, it festers. Pain resisted becomes poison. It twists into bitterness, envy, self-pity. It corrodes from the inside. That is the path most people take. But the moment you affirm your wound, the moment you accept it as part of your story, it changes. It becomes fuel. Think of betrayal. When someone breaks your trust, you can spend years replaying it, blaming them, doubting everyone you meet. The wound defines you. Or you can choose another path. You can say, "This pain showed me what matters. It forced me to see what I once ignored." Suddenly, the betrayal that could have kept you bitter becomes the teacher that made you wiser. The same with failure. You can wear it as shame, or you can recognize it as proof you had the courage to try. The failed attempt becomes evidence of your will, not your weakness. Nietzsche wanted us to see that suffering is not against you. It is for you, if you are willing to embrace it. Every wound carries two possibilities. It can trap you in the role of victim, or it can forge you into someone unshakable. The difference lies in whether you resist it or claim it. Pain will visit everyone. Few will have the courage to love it, to welcome it as raw material for creation. Here is what most people never realize. The strongest parts of you are built from the moments you thought would break you. Resilience does not grow in comfort. Wisdom is not born in ease. Courage does not appear when the path is smooth. They are all born in friction. They are all children of pain. This is why Nietzsche insisted that to live fully, you must embrace not only your joys, but your wounds, because hidden inside them is the map to your strength. So ask yourself, which of your wounds are you still resisting? Which memories still poison you because you refuse to claim them? The moment you stop wishing they had never happened and start saying, "This belongs to me," everything shifts. Your pain no longer owns you. You own it. And from that place, nothing can stop you. You are no longer the one who was broken. You are the one who turned breaking into becoming. From the moment you are born, you are surrounded by invisible mirrors. Parents, teachers, friends, society itself all hold up reflections of who they think you should be. And without realizing it, you begin to measure yourself against those mirrors. You compare your choices, your successes, even your happiness to what you see in others. Most people think this is normal. They believe comparison keeps them motivated. But Nietzsche saw the truth. Comparison does not drive growth. It drives self-betrayal. Because every time you measure your worth by someone else's standard, you abandon your own. Look closely at regret, and you will notice something strange. Many of the things you regret were not even born from your own values. You regret not taking the job everyone said was prestigious. You regret not buying the things that signal success. You regret not living up to the story society wrote for you. But were these ever your desires? Or were they borrowed scripts handed to you by the herd? Nietzsche warned us that the herd will always try to dictate what is good, what is worthy, what is valuable. And if you obey without question, you lose the ability to love your fate. Amor Fati is more than accepting the past. It is breaking free from those mirrors. It is seeing that your life is not a performance for others, but a creation for yourself. The herd thrives on imitation. True freedom is creation. When you detach from the endless comparisons, you gain the space to ask, what do I actually want to build? This is terrifying at first because it removes the comfort of applause, but it is also the moment where life begins to feel like yours. Think about how much energy comparison steals. You look at another person's success, and suddenly your own feels smaller. You scroll through endless images of curated lives, and your own feels inadequate. But comparison only works if you believe there is one standard, one finish line, one script everyone must follow. Nietzsche rejected this illusion. He believed that your task is not to meet the world's expectation, but to create your own horizon. Amor Fati is the practice of saying yes, not only to what has happened, but to who you are, in spite of what others think. Here is the shift. When you stop comparing, you stop regretting, because regret is almost always born from borrowed eyes. It is not that you failed by your own measure. It is that you think you failed by theirs. When you free yourself from comparison, regret loses its grip. You no longer ask, how do I measure up? You ask, what am I creating? That is the essence of Amor Fati, to live as if your life is art, not a competition. Nietzsche wanted us to see that the herd will always whisper, they will always judge, but their voices are not your fate. Your fate is the path only you can walk, and the moment you embrace it, you stop being a copy and start becoming the original. This is the freedom hidden inside Amor Fati, to live not as an imitation of what others approve, but as the creator of the only story that was ever truly yours. Most people think fate is something decided once and for all, as if your life were a stone carved in the past and you are just dragged along its surface. But Nietzsche saw something far more alive. Fate is not one grand acceptance at the end of your life. It is a practice you live every single day. Amor Fati is not about waiting for the perfect moment to finally embrace who you are. It is about choosing your fate in the small moments, the ordinary hours, the decisions that seem invisible but shape everything. Think about how your days actually unfold. You wake up and immediately face choices. Do you see the morning as a burden or as a gift? Do you dwell on yesterday's failures or use them as fuel for today? Each decision is a chance to say yes or no to your life. And here is the hidden truth. Most people say no without realizing it. They reject themselves in subtle ways. They complain about the job, resent their past, envy others, all while believing they have no choice. But every complaint, every envy, every regret is another way of saying no. Amor Fati flips that script. It teaches you that even when you cannot change what happened, you can change your response. Every moment becomes an invitation to affirm, to say yes, to claim it as yours. Nietzsche wanted us to see that this yes is not weakness, it is strength. To love your fate is not to lie to yourself about suffering. It is to accept suffering as part of the same canvas that holds your joy. Imagine a painting where you try to erase every dark color. The picture loses depth. It becomes flat, lifeless. But when you allow the shadows to stay, the light gains intensity. Your life is the same. The struggles do not ruin it. They give it shape. By saying yes to both the shadow and the light, you create something richer, something whole. Most people miss this because they think freedom is the absence of limits. They believe they would be free if only they could rewrite their story, remove their scars, escape their responsibilities. But Nietzsche's revelation is the opposite. Freedom comes when you no longer fight the story you have. Your fate is not a chain holding you down. It is a canvas waiting for you to paint. Every scar becomes texture. Every loss becomes contrast. Every joy becomes color. And when you practice Amor Fati daily, the picture is no longer one of resignation. It is one of creation. This is the climax of Nietzsche's invitation to stop wishing for another life, to stop imagining some better version of yourself, and to realize that the life you already have is the raw material of greatness. The question is not, what could I have been, but what will I choose to be now? Each day is a brushstroke. Each choice is an affirmation. And the moment you begin to love what is yours, both the joy and the struggle, you step into a freedom others never taste. You are no longer living as someone dragged by fate. You are living as the author of it.